everyone. Here's my little ode to Miss Linda Berry, a little funky song. I'm gonna butcher the name up, but it's French. It's called Raconte-Moi une Histoire. The artist is M83. I'll put it down in the links below. It's just one of those funky songs that even my kids enjoy hearing because it's just so bizarre. So anyways, moving along. Thanks for joining me. This is Julia's Bento, and today I am going to be covering the whole concept about the commonplace book. One of my favorite Instagram ladies from Found and Made has asked me to actually discuss what my ideas were about the whole commonplace book, because she caught me a couple of times mentioning it, but not exactly covering it. And I've kind of put it along the back burner because there's so many things I think, that one could cover about it, but I'll give you the condensed version, I promise. Anyways, when you do the research, one of these guys, I believe his name is Ryan, and his website is thoughtcatalog.com. His website comes up quite a bit for that topic, and I'll give you his quick definition about it. It is a commonplace book is a central resource of depository of ideas, quotes, anecdotes, observations, and information you come across during your life and didactic pursuits. So what does that mean? Well, basically, in this day and age, we are being bombarded with so much information. It could be, obviously internet related, TV, people you talk to, magazines, whatever it may be, right? And really, it's kind of a place where you kind of store the ideas to maybe contemplate it in the future, time, or, it's like connecting the dots. I don't know if a lot of you guys do that. You may read one article one day. I mean, it could be like over a span of years, right? And all of a sudden you start to connect the dots to different subjects and things like that. And it's like, you learned something, right? Or you came up with some sort of like amazing idea. That's kind of like where the whole commonplace book, I guess, stems from. Is kind of like a suppository of a repository, I should say, not suppository, repository of ideas and things that you come across, and then giving your time to reflect and like look back on what those ideas were, right? So I know a lot of you probably have done it without knowing you've done it, that it's called a commonplace book. I mean, I sure have, and I went completely digital for a while. The Evernote is a great tool for that. It keeps everything organized. But I kind of like, since my love for the paper has been renewed, and I still do love the tactile, I am regressing, but in a good way, I think, especially if you had a chance to look over Linda Berry's video, the whole idea of the hand and how it helps you think. I think I completely, I'm a proponent for that, right? I really believe in that. And, initially when I went completely digital, you don't write anymore. And when I decided to go back to doing journaling and things like that, my hands cramped up. Writing, it hurt. It still hurts when I write for long periods of times. But there's something about it. There's something about hand to paper and all that stuff. It's really nice, but I regress. So back to the whole commonplace book here. As I said, there's a lot of places and different ways you can create your own commonplace book. The Evernote, as I said before. There's another guy, when you do your research, that I believe he was a writer, and he had this huge, like those craft plastic bins, and he had all of these index cards, right, neatly organized, and that was his commonplace book, right? That's where he stored everything. Of course, another thing that's really nice is, your 3-ring binders or binder systems, because you can shift things around and things like that. But as you know, I am not, although I understand the concept behind the rings and how great they are, I like bound books. So I decided something about this one, I just would throw down a lot of information, ideas, things like that, and it just ended up being my commonplace book. And what bothered me before was the idea that, oh, okay, if I'm doing like quotes, how many pages do I leave for the quotes, and how many pages do I leave for like, brainstorming, things like that. That's what would bother me about hardbound books, but basically I don't worry about that anymore. I just kind of like throw down my ideas wherever, and the way I find it is I make little, let's see here, real quick, and it's not being real quick. Okay, here. So what I would do is I made these page numbers on the bottom, and again, I'm sorry, I know the way it films, it flips all the mirror images, all the words and text and stuff like that. But the idea is basically I leave numbers on the bottom of the pages, and then I made this little index card. Right now it is not so well put together. It is basically my main categories, and then the page numbers, the pages that I've actually covered those categories. Eventually, when I kind of solidify my indexing system, I think what I'm going to do is actually color code it, and then on the top of each page, maybe if I want to get that organized, is color code like a little bar or something like that. So when you look at it on the side, you'll see, okay, oh, there's the red one, that must be brainstorming, right? So I might get into it that deeply, but maybe not. So that's the way I'm going to kind of like organize things. It's a little archaic, I know, but like I said, you have to feel it and want to do it. And this is what it is for me, the commonplace book. And so, a lot of it also has to do with just, well, here's another thing. There's a great lady who's a great advocate of homeschooling. I believe her name is Lori. Lori Pickert. And her book, it's called The Project-Based Homeschooling, Mentoring Self-Directed Learners, right? I don't personally homeschool, but I love her concepts. And she just recently had a little journaling class for us that I took. And here's a little quote that I thought I'd share with you that I think just nails it in terms of like journaling, right? A journal is a tool for mindfulness. It forces us to take pause, to think, and allows us to reflect. It's a tool that helps us remember things we might otherwise forget, notice things we might otherwise miss, and focus on things we care most about. I think that is so true, you can like blow through life, really, right? There's just so many things going on. And I think it gives you pause. It gives you pause to think. And unlike a diary, so to speak, I mean, like full on journaling, like diary, so to speak. I know I'm talking about journaling here, but this is more like your little, catch-all, right? From like articles you've seen. For me, I when I take a little class, I just still like to have the printouts. I mean, I know I could take all of this digitally and keep it in my Evernotes, and I've done that before, but then it just sits on my computer and I don't get to kind of like thumb through it and look at it and then do marginalia. And what is marginalia, you ask? That's another tirade I could go into, but the idea behind that is be a good reader, right? I mean, just don't read it, but slow down, take notes, make commentary, things like that. I mean, what is it? Mark Twain is apparently a famous marginalist. He had over 1,000 books in his library, and they say he pretty much wrote in every single one of them, everything from comments to, what the hell is this character doing? What is he doing? Like things like that, to like his commentary on the actual authors, to that nature. I thought it was brilliant. But I think to that like little side avenue thought here, I think a lot of us would be afraid to write in it. So that's where you could also write it separate in your own little book. Or for me, I print out, like for instance the classes, online classes that I do, I print it out and then I do my little, you know, notes and things like that in there. So I guess it's a pretty condensed version of what the commonplace notebook can do. And you're right, Heather, the lovely lady who asked me to talk more about this. It is whatever you want it to be. I mean, you know, you could go through the history and apparently, you know, everybody from poets to politicians have had their own version of the commonplace book, right? And I mean, even what Bill Gates apparently has one too, right? And it's really what you want to make of it. For me personally, I'm one of those people who just like to grab all these different ideas, kind of like meld on it, mesh on it, think about it, chaw on it for a while, and then something just comes to me, and then it's like a moment, right? So, I mean, for me, you know, my basic topics, right? Here, I'll read some of them for you. It's, you know, brainstorming, family, and in terms of like, here's the overall arching category for writing is the blog, you know, my blog that I'm doing here. Class, creative things, creative writing, things to that nature. Inspiration, what inspires me. Quotes, research topics, and just general thoughts. So those are my main topics in my index right now. And that's where I'm just kind of storing it in here and loving this. Yeah, because there's, you know, just a lot of pages and I'm not afraid to just, you know, plow down and just start writing, taking notes and things like that. And then just organizing it this way, not worrying where in this book that I threw it in, because I'll be able to find it to some degree. I know it's not exact science, but I generally kind of know where things are. So so there's my little chit chat on the commonplace book. I probably over the course of, I'm crazy here, time we'll add some more of my thoughts about the whole commonplace book. But I'll probably do a better job of sourcing my where I've been getting my information about the commonplace book on my blog. So check that out when you get a chance. And I hope you have a happy Friday and have a nice day. Bye!